Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. Yo, Libido, wherefore art thou? A lot of people come into my work, especially women people, and they have no desire for sex. So they're listening to everything I have to say, and they hear all of the fantastic achievements people have, yet they barely feel the motivation to even engage. After a while of feeling like you have no desire for sex, you might even start to think that you're just one of those people who doesn't have a big sex drive. Or you start to rationalize that sex really isn't the most important part of a relationship, and that having sex once or a few times a month is just fine. Nah, there is a lot of self-protection going on in all of these narratives. So let's break them down with some Anami facts. Anami fact number 1. Everyone has a high libido. I guarantee it. Women, men, pregnant, postpartum, peri, post, and full menopausal, all of you. No exceptions. If you don't feel it right now, it's because there are layers over top of it, suppressing it from coming out in all its glory. There can be many reasons and many layers. My work is all about finding them and systematically removing them and freeing you to be the libidinous, salacious, voracious being that you truly are. Anami fact number 2. Low libido equals unresolved issues. It's not hormonal, it's not cyclical, it's rarely even physical. If you feel sexually stuck and have no desire, it's because somewhere along the way that connection was interrupted. It may have been through traumatic experiences that caused you to dissociate from your body and your sexual self because you didn't feel safe to dwell in them. Past hurts that haven't been healed linger if we don't clear them. They stay on and in the body like post-it notes to get our attention until we address them. This applies to recent issues all the way back to decades-old situations that haven't been processed. Let me give you an example. Say you have an argument at breakfast with your partner. You're both rushing off to work and school and kids, and you don't clear the air. Later that night, you go to have sex. He's not that hard, you aren't that wet, so you grab some lube and you slather it on. He pops Viagra to get things going. The sex lasts a meager 3 totally lackluster minutes. You both collapse and roll over and go to sleep. Everything shows up in bed. All of your unspoken truths and resentments are hanging in the ethers and have climbed into bed with you. They show up as a lack of erection or a lack of orgasms. Now multiply your breakfast argument by 50 or 100 or 500 unresolved arguments. By that point, it shows up as a lack of libido or yeast infections or PCOS or worse. All symptoms of stuck sexual energy. I have had students in my salons in every situation imaginable where they are told that this is the reason for fill-in-the-blank sexual symptom. And then they worked on themselves and their intimate relationship and it resolves. And honestly, the easiest thing to bring back to life is the libido. Beyond that, we've seen cysts and growths entirely disappear. Women go from having gut-wrenching, debilitating periods and menopause to ecstasy and spiritual download portals to healing endometriosis. All through clearing and healing your sexual and intimacy blockages. Anami fact number 3. Women are naturally more insatiable than men. Men are conditioned to be more sexual than women, and women are conditioned to be more emotional than men. When you peel back the layers of programming, you will find that women are naturally voracious and can handle 10 times more than men. And men are delightfully sensitive and intuitive. The ancient Taoists said that sexually speaking, men are like fire, quick to ignite and quick to extinguish. Women are like water, slow to boil, but they keep on boiling. Since 75% of men ejaculate within 3 minutes of intercourse and 95% within 5 minutes, this means that most women never really get the chance to get going. It's over before they've even opened their eyes. So the work is for men to cultivate stamina and control to be able to go the distance, and for women to develop a steady sexual simmer so they aren't having to go from melting ice to boiling in each sexual encounter. The bottom line is, once a woman is switched on, she's on, and she can outfuck any man for hours. Think about it. Most men come extremely quickly, and when they do, they are down for the count. It's game over. Unless he's a rare creature with supreme regenerative skills, he is out. But her, she's just getting started. She can flow and flow, orgasm after orgasm, and keep getting higher and higher. There is no stopping her. But most women never even get to taste this part of themselves because they barely make it out of the gate. Anami fact number 4. Your libido is your life force energy. Years ago, I came across a definition of libido by the psychoanalysts Jung and Freud. They talked about one's libido as, yes, being your sexual drive. They also spoke about it as being your life force, how you put yourself out there in the world, how you individuate, how you share your gifts. If you think about it, your sexual energy, your literal sexual raw material, contains the genetic blueprint of who you are, your individual essence. What I've seen in the decades of doing this work is that when people sexually self-realize, when they truly occupy that energy within themselves, they become more of who they really are in their whole lives. They start making choices that are more in alignment with the truth of their being. They might quit a job, change friends, find a new vocation, magnetize brilliant and amazing new opportunities. The things that are less of who they are just fall away, and whatever reflects the inner truth of their deepest, most authentic selves begins to come to them effortlessly. Anami fact number 5. Rev it up even when single. Sometimes people ask us if they ought to enroll in my salons even if they don't currently have a partner. Yes, it is vitally important to cultivate this relationship with yourself. When you activate your sensual energy, you rev up your libido, you begin to wear that energy. It's a radiance, a charisma. It's that, what are you doing different? Are you doing something different? You just seem different. That je ne sais quoi that people notice and are attracted to, especially men people. When you go inside, literally and figuratively, and start working on alchemizing your stuff, all the while using the power of your sexual energy to do it, you up level. You begin vibrating at a higher frequency. And what happens? You also attract a partner at a higher frequency. Anami fact number 6. Use the laws of motion. So this is a final note on the idea of momentum and inertia. Once you get in motion, it is far easier to stay there. But to break out of inertia takes a little more effort. Initially, you need to apply force and discipline to get things moving. So, because I've been working out as in exercising for so long, the only time I ever have to re-motivate myself because I'm running with momentum is when I've been injured. So, let's say I haven't been able to work out for a few weeks. When my body is healed and I'm ready to go, I can feel some internal resistance. This is the law of inertia. So, I have to exert extra effort to make myself get my butt in gear and go to the gym. I've just gotten out of the habit. Inertia has crept in. So it might be like that for the first few times. But then once I get to the gym and my bliss hormones and my neurotransmitters are firing, it's game on. And then after a week, my body and my brain are like, hey, Kim, when are we going to the gym? Isn't it time to go to the gym? And they begin to carry me. So yes, initially it can take some kicking yourself in the butt to take action and break out of a rut in your bed, in your inner life. You clean up the debris that's piled up. But then you start to see and feel the difference, and you get carried by this energy. You enter into the territory of the well-fucked woman, and your whole life changes. In today's All-Star interview, I am speaking with Teresa. She went from having 20-minute sex sessions to 3-day sex dates. She describes her libido now as always hovering at an 8 or a 9, all day, every day. What I love in this conversation is how she makes the connections between all the changes that took place in her bed and in her sex life, and then how these have reflected in her outer life. Like I've been saying, your libido is your life force energy. When you unleash it, you can use that power to turbo fuel everything you do at the highest possible level. We could say that your libido is your secret weapon. Well fucked All-Stars! Welcome, Teresa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Kim. Love being here with you.
All right, so let's hear about your well-fucked journey and evolution.
Yeah, I mean, it started, I guess maybe a year or so ago. I was listening to another YouTuber, and she had mentioned the jade egg, and she mentioned your name. She was like, listen to Kim Anami. And all she said was, you're welcome. Like, that was it. And I was very intrigued. So I instantly went to your YouTube and was like, oh, well, this is something that I liked. I liked listening to you. I liked the way you presented it. It wasn't in any way like off key or like, some people would think, oh, you're listening to, somebody talk about sex. It wasn't anything like, oh, it was something like, no, how could I really get into my body and, make things, not that things were not good, but, you could always just, add a little bit more spice to it, is how I felt. So, Christmas this year, my husband asked me, what do you want for Christmas?
I want more orgasms, baby. Can you give them to me?
I did. I pretty much said that, yes. And he looked at me like, what? I was like, I really want a jade egg, but I want Kim Anami's jade egg. I want her jade egg. And he's like, Kim Anami? And I showed him your material.
Here's Kim, she's lifting an Oscar with her vagina. Are you into it? Can I have the egg?
He was like, what are you going to do? You're going to lift what? And
furniture, baby, just furniture.
I was like, I said, it's going to better us. Now, my husband and I have been together a really long time. We're married, 27 years we're married.
Wow.
So, right. So we've been together and we've had to reinvent the wheel many times in our sex life, right? Yeah. So always through everything that we've been through, we have 2 adult children now, but all that we've been through, sex was one of those things that we really never let get in the way. We always came together and we always enjoyed ourselves. Anyway, so back to Christmas. So Christmas, I was like, I really want this. I said, I really feel that this is going to enhance me as a woman. Like just now that I'm going through menopause and stuff, it really, things change. And I still wanted that sensation. I didn't want to go through the typical what women go through, the menopause. And I've I'm a nutritionist by profession, and very into health and wellness, and I teach yoga as well. So I knew I didn't have to go through menopause like everybody else is saying I have to go through menopause. I was like,
Right.
no, I
Yeah.
was like, hell with that. I'm not doing that. And and I really felt that this path would lead me to, better sex life, yes, but better overall health also. Anyway, I got the jade egg for Christmas. Right? He was like, "All right, I got the jade egg for Christmas," and then instantly after that, I went into VKF, the vaginal kung fu, and loved every second of it. I really did. And actually, I went into it thinking, "All right, not only get into my body, but how could I really um, be in come into my truth at this stage of my life? Like, where do I want to be in the next few years? Not in my personal life, in my life with my husband, in my professional life with my kids, so on and so forth." And the first 2 weeks, I have to say, really got in touch with, wow, I didn't know I was going to get in touch with so many emotional things. And I really did the work. The MMC, like I was very
Meditate,
diligent about
masturbate, create.
masturbate,
For
create,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry.
It's all
That's
right.
just my short term. And, really just doing the work. Right. And then week 3 happened, and it was just magical. I have to say, week 3 was completely magical, because I don't know what another word to use for it. And at this point, my husband and I really never discussed the program, like me going through it. It was like, I did the work, plus we're both busy with work and keeping up with, what our kids are doing. We really never just sat down and discussed, vaginal kung fu. But then week 3, I saw it in his body language. I felt it in my body, like as we were getting together, whether it was, in the evening or daytime, because at this point we were like, you men recommended having day sex. I was like, nope, let's
Yeah.
wake up and do this. And in his whole body language, the way he was moving, his moans and groans, like just everything about it was more intense, more, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was definitely, we were definitely into each other. Um, so I was like, this is working.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like when we would meet weekly on the weekly calls, and we would listen, we would break up into groups, and we would listen to each other and talk about what we were doing for the week. And what was coming up for me is this inner joy that I was experiencing. Yes, the sex was good. Yes, everything else was like, I felt really good, and, getting into who I am as a woman at this stage of my life. But I had this inner sense of joy during a time of, there was a lot of shit going on in the world, right?
Yeah.
There was just a lot of stuff, so in the bigger global world, there's a lot going on. In my inner world with my own family and friends, there's a lot going on. But yet, despite that, not that I'm lessening what everybody's going through, I'm not doing that. I take that to heart, and I present that in my work. But my inner joy was so there that it's like, yes, I could take this on, right? I could take on the world. I could take on, my inner life, my relationships, with all the people in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I
No.
rambling?
That's what,
I
like,
could
that's
stop
what
rambling.
the essence of being well fucked, i.e., tapping into and really owning and radiating your sexual energy is, right? Is that you have this unstoppability, this ability that you're able to go into all of your life's challenges with ease and grace, and you become unfazable. And so all of that absolutely correlates with what I see all the time with women who tap into this energy, and their lives change, and the way they navigate their lives change. So they might have the same challenges or even more challenges, but their ability to deal with them is tenfold increased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. Right. So then week 5 was another magical week for my relationship with my husband, because I think, no, I don't think, I know he was noticing it as well. So I would do all like the meditate, masturbate, create in the morning. So one morning after I was doing my thing, he comes downstairs and he asked this very profound question. And I was like, wow. And he goes, how's your vagina class going? I was like, I was like, it's going really well. And at that moment, I was actually looking through all the accessories, thinking, let's bring accessories into, our playtime. And so I said, come, let's look, let's see what we can buy, And so we were reading all about anahata, and and it says in the description of anahata that the cervix is the area of love in a woman's vagina and the tip of the penis. Am I saying this correctly?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So, and he looks at me and he goes, oh my goodness. He goes, I'm so glad that we're reading this because I'm always afraid to hit your cervix. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt you. And I look at him, I'm going, no, that's what I want you to do.
Hit away.
Hit away. That's exactly what I said. I actually said pound away, but
yeah,
anyway, yeah. I was like, no, this is good. So we bought that. We bought the oils. We bought a couple other things, and and then the conversation started to open about, deep stuff that relationships go through. I mean, sex, yes, of course, but, deeper relational things and how we both want to move forward, in our marriage, in our sex life, in our careers and all that stuff. So really like those hard to speak talks, but also fun and play it as well, like just keeping it light, even though we have to discuss the deeper things that relationships have to go through. So good stuff, really, really good stuff. Totally recommend the class. I mean, so many benefits.
So tell me, how did your libido change over the course of where you started from to where you ended up?
So, let's see. How could I say this? It got stronger in a sense that I'm always at that 8 or 9 phase. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no libido at all, 10 being like, I want sex all the time. I'm probably about an 8 or a 9, where it's sort of like whether I'm pleasuring myself or I'm with my husband, it's sort of like game on, like I'm ready, right? It's sort of, and I find it's really good because it keeps me energized throughout all the things that I have to do, right? It's just, being a wife, being a mom, being a nutritionist, doing all the work I do for my community. It gives me that drive. It really taps into like my power source, right? Being in that, like, I guess, bliss state. It keeps me in the sense, keeps me in that power source, but not in this, strong, in a masculine sense, but in a joyous, happy, loving sense, to really bring my message out to my community, without being taken back by the people who are, the naysayers, the people who are gonna like bring me down, because there's those people out there, so it really keeps me in that strength of, I got this, and nothing is going to take me down. Sort of like what you say, right? You say like, don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. Like I really don't, and not that's a bad thing. It's not that I don't care. I care very, very much. It's just, I'm going to do what I want to do to get my message out into the world. And if that means having more sex, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a really good
I
thing.
love that. How can I get my message more out into the world? I will have more sex. I mean, that's definitely the Kim and Ami business advice is how to amplify and quantum leap your business is have more sex. Absolutely. And of course, what you say about not giving a fuck is fully, the emblem of being a well fucked woman is when you reach that place of being, like you said, really tapping into that inner power source, that you become what I said earlier, unfazable, unstoppable. And your voice, your message, the gifts that you have to give to the world are then flowing freely out of you. And like you said, it's not that you don't care about the right things, but you don't care about the wrong things, meaning people who are haters or insecure or projecting upon you. Those people, they go right over your head, right? They become
Yeah.
insignificant because frankly, they are insignificant, right? People taking pot shots or projecting their own unresolved issues and stuff in the weird PC climate that we're in these days, even though some of these voices can be very strong because Fukume, quite frankly, can be, pictures of rabidly foaming at the mouth, underfucked people can be very loud and obnoxious, but it doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that they're speaking the truth. It just means they're so underfucked that they're screaming at the top of their lungs.
Hmm. Yeah. And I always say like the empty barrels make the most noise. So it's so true, and all, and in this essence of like me not giving a fuck and really tapping into my power source and, um, having sex to fuel me, really has led me to so many opportunities in my professional. So yes, it strengthened my relationship with my husband. It strengthened my relationship with myself, but it also brought me um, into a better business sense. And it's again to use the word magical, but I'm putting the work in, so it's not like this woo woo kind of magic. It's I'm really doing the work to make these things happen. But these business opportunities literally are falling in my lap because that's where I'm putting the effort. As you say,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm putting the effort into it. So really great business opportunities that I had no idea that I can turn different corners, and these business opportunities are just literally coming at me like face to face. And, it's sort of like, wow, look at this. Um, it, to me, it's just amazing. It really is. It's just absolutely amazing. And me to look at the business opportunities as if, well, I'm not going to take every single business opportunity that's coming at me.
Right.
But me to look, is this really going to support my belief, my message, my work ethic in the world? So it sort of gives me a very clear vision of how I want to step forward. Um, in this next stage of life, really, in this next stage of life.
I love
So,
that also being more selective, right? Being clear about what's
mhm,
in alignment with the truth of who you are versus just saying yes to any opportunity that comes your way.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the length of your sex dates. I believe that you were having shorter sex dates previously, and then through doing this work, you've been really edging it up there.
Yeah. Oh, this is another area that has totally like taken off. So, I mean, we would get together and we would definitely have good sessions, but maybe last maybe 20 minutes. Okay. So, and we thought that was like good. Like we were like, wow, And then I was like, no, we got this. We can go. And now it's probably up to 90 minutes, but the 3 day sex dates, really good stuff. Um,
So the weekends,
so
like when you guys
yeah,
do a weekend, yeah.
yeah, it's sort of like fantastic. But it's more like it's, yes, there's the physical act of sex, but it's like even the playing around. It's sort of like walking around or eating lunch or, just walking around naked in front of each other in the hotel room and sort of giving each other the glances. And it's sort of, and then having a really long session and then sort of like taking a break, we fall asleep and then wake up again and, get into it, like really into it, like you're saying, up against the wall, you name it. It really is so good to take that time with your partner and just dedicate it to each other's bodies. um, it really creates a very close connection, a bond that is unbreakable. So even when we are out in the world and doing what we're doing, we know that we can come back to each other and literally, fall into each other and the stress of the days, or we look forward to these weekends now. It's just so much fun. It's something that, of course we can do at home, but the weekends, it's like a vacation. You
Yeah.
always look forward to the vacation and you want to do that. But
Yeah. Yeah. The mindset of being away as well, out of
mm-hmm,
your environment, like it's more
mm-hmm.
special. How often do you have these 3 day sex dates?
We've been doing it more often. I would say every other month.
Nice.
Like every
Excellent.
other month, I
Yeah.
would say, and we don't per se, we don't call them sex dates. It's now we just look forward. Let's just go. We can like, let's just go away. Let's stay in overnight. Like, wherever we go is sort of like, well, we'll stay overnight. And we just know it's sort of like, all right, pack up the stuff.
Take the Anami shop with you.
Yes. And, oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So you're describing more as well this notion that I speak of hovering at the sexual simmer. So when you talk about being at an 8 or a 9 all the time and that you're always in the mood, like describe what that's like, because I think a lot of people would think that they relegate sex to a certain time and place, like in their bedroom between certain hours in the bed, and then the sexual energy just stays there, right? Like it doesn't emerge out of the bedroom with them. They have their whatever experience, maybe they have orgasms, there's a decline in energy and desire, and then they, put it out of their head, go do other things. Yet what you're describing is that that's always with you, that sensuality, that swell in a way of the body, or however you would describe it. And would ask you to, and then
Mhm.
how does that feel to navigate in the world that way?
Yeah, so I do hover over about an 8 or a 9. And I'll talk about me personally by staying at an 8 and 9, and then I'll go into how I am with my husband. So by me doing the work with myself, right? So the meditate, masturbate, create, um, it doesn't mean that I just want to go have sex all day long, but it keeps me at that sexual energy so I can be creative in all my areas at any given time. So really just keeping that, like you say, the simmer, that's a good word, like keeping that simmer so that I feel sexy on the inside, and that sexiness, right, like radiates out into the work that I do. Because I feel the swagger. I feel it, like, and it's, I feel the strength of it, and it feels really good. I have, like I had said before, I have that constant joy in my heart because my vagina is always simmering. um so when I'm out in the world doing what I want to do, yeah, do I want to come home and be with my husband? Because after a while it's sort of like, all righty, I need you right here right now. um but it keeps me alive, it keeps me going, it keeps like um the pedals turning, as if I was on, like, on a bike, and I'm on that that road of bliss. So then when I come home to my husband and it's a long day, but we're making dinner or we're setting the table, it's the nice glance, it's the I mean, what we do personally is we kind of like give each other these little bumps into each other, sort of like these playful, like, oops, I'm sorry, I hit into you, or he'll hit into me. And, you know, these these little like I don't know, like I push his plate a certain way, and it's, and it may sound a little bit like, oh my goodness, what are these two doing? But it really does that constant foreplay, even
Yeah,
with
right.
China, or even with, you know what I'm saying? Like, but by the time we do get to the bedroom, like the fire is roaring. It's like, okay, now we really want to get into one another. And it just makes it more alive. So even at the end of the day, because let's say if we're working all day, I mean, we can start really early in the morning, and by the end of the day, we're tired. Like, it's just, we put a lot into our day, but that fire is still roaring, so that when we do get to, and I'll say the bedroom, because most people in the bedroom, it doesn't have to be the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, the laundry room, wherever it is. And but it's like, all right, now, but we still have that simmer, that energy to, be with one another, because it's it's really it's really nice, because like we joke around, we look at each other, it's sort of like that very, that making love to most people is that's that very nice and petting each other, and this kind of like hallmark kind of making love. Like, it never really jived with us. It really never did. We're both very type A personalities, very
Mm.
intense people. um, so when we wanted to be with each other, we wanted to be each other, and we wanted to really enjoy. And that was aggression, I guess, but not aggressive. Like, we would just not not gentle, but we didn't like hurt each other or anything like that. But it was, it
Passion.
was just
Sounds like
passion. Yeah, that's
passion.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
passion. So that's what I mean. Like, it's not that hallmark making love like you're reading one of those romantic novels, not like that.
Okay,
That's
so
why.
for you, that definition, like making love, just feels a bit maybe restrained or reserved or
Mhm.
predictable, where for you guys, you've always had a level of passion, regardless
Mhm.
of, you've done work to extend the length of time that you're having sex for and other explorations, but you've always had a thread of passion going through it rather than a more sedate kind of what you would see as boring way of being together. Is that right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
You termed it properly. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Awesome. So, this idea then of like, it sounds like what you've really managed to do is tap into, inhabit your sexual energy. And again, you reference MMC in the abbreviation that I use too, but it
Mhm.
means meditate, masturbate, create, which is like a conscious self-pleasuring practice that's about harvesting, tapping into, and then utilizing your sexual energy out in the world. In the way that you're describing your life with your partner and in your vocation is that it's showing us that you really have done that, is that you're hovering at this simmer, like you're inhabiting this energy, you're wearing this energy, or it's alive with you, right? It's not something that, like I said, gets shut and left in the bedroom. You take that out into the world. And then and you've shown that in the work that you do, where it's been up leveled and this vitality is being infused into it. And then with your partner, that you're also even up leveling that, and that you guys really do exist in this constant state of foreplay, which sounds delicious. And that's what I really aim for and try to explain to people is the goal, is that you never really want to be dropping off. You always want to be hovering at least a 7, if not an 8, if not a 9 out of
Mhm.
10, where you could drop your pants and be intimate at any moment, because the energy is so raised up between you and doesn't extinguish itself. Where I think for most people, there's a very distinguished ignition and then extinguishing of that energy, right? And so
Mhm.
the idea is that we're always like, you're always in the mood. Like, why wouldn't I be in the mood? Like, I live with this energy all the time.
Mhm. Right. exactly. And then something else that sort of came to me while taking vaginal kung fu was this work should is a global necessity. I feel like, and I know you've heard this before because I've heard many people tell you this, but this is probably the best sex education class I've ever taken. And I recommend it to all the young people. So, my kids are young adults, and I talk to them very freely about knowing their bodies and what their partners want, and to have an open conversation about it, that it's not shameful, that it's not, this is, listen, this is a part of the world, this is how we, create human beings. Why not know about it? Yes, it's pleasurable, and to honor that pleasure, and to know your body, to embody your body and let it be known. Let your partners know, I like this, I don't like that. What do you want? What do you like? It shouldn't be hidden. And I feel like that's still out there, that it's a hidden topic, and people are not talking about it, or they're shamed about it, or it's something to sort of like giggle, like, little
Mm.
schoolgirls. It's like, no, I'm not giggling about this. This is just part of life. Like, this is your body. You can know it. There were some things that we were discussing during vaginal kung fu. I was like, I've been having sex a long time. I've been a woman my whole entire life. Wait, let me see this. Let me, like, what is going on? And why weren't we taught this at such a young age? It should be discussed. So I feel like, and the way I put it in words, it was imagine the world we would live in if sex was honored and embraced and not hidden and shamed. No more fook me. It would be phenomenal. It really would.
It would, but yeah, well, that's my mission, is to bring
Yeah.
this information out there.
Mhm.
So tell me more about because I talk about the connection between libido and your life's work. And in the way that Freud and Jung define libido, it wasn't so much having, a high desire for sex. I mean, sure, it was that. But it was also this idea of how we individuate into the world and how we show up and give our gifts into the world. And the way that you have come more into alignment with who you are, and the way that your business has evolved and up leveled, sounds like you've also funneled that idea of libido that way, right? And that those opportunities that you've talked about, that you're magnetizing new clients, new business relationships, cultivating new community, like all of that sounds like such a great reflection of this same concept extended into that, right? And second chakra is sex,
Mhm.
creativity, and money, which I also connect in with our vocation, how we show up and we make money in the world. So, what would you say about all that? Like, how much more could you say about inhabiting your sexuality and your vocation and the relationship there?
Not holding back. Like, I don't have that hesitation. I speak my truth for what it is in the moment, right? So I see it in the present moment, for whatever it is, and I speak it right from there, no matter where I am. So whether I'm with a private client, or I'm doing group sessions, or I'm teaching a yoga class, my you're going to hear what I see, and I'm speaking the truth from that point, and speaking my truth in that power. So, like, I mean, yes, going into the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra, right? Where it's like, your sexual energy and your power energy are sourced, really tapping into those areas, and then moving up to my heart, speaking it with love, of course, because nobody's going to hear, nobody would hear me if I spoke out of anger, speaking out of love, and definitely using my voice. Going up to the throat chakra is using my voice and expressing it out, right? With no hesitation. meditation. In the past, when I held back a little bit more. I held back a lot more. I didn't speak from my truth. I spoke from what people wanted to hear, not what I wanted to say that was needed to be heard. So that's where I feel I really put it forward and just like let it go. It's like, if you don't want to hear me, you can leave. Like it's that simple. You don't want to hear what I have to say on social media, you can delete me. And I really don't care, because for every person who drops off, 10 more people come back on. And so really embodying that. And I do the work. I've done your work, and I do a lot of yoga work. I really do. I'm very into like a somatic kind of therapy. Because I'll be honest and say that my childhood wasn't the best of childhood. So I really had to overcome that. And I was a quiet, shy little girl. But now that I really am embodying this power, like I feel like nothing can stop me. I'm going forward. Is it easy? No, the work is not easy. I don't want to make it, like this was an easy process. It really wasn't. But putting the work in and seeing the results is my fuel to keep on going. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love how you've said that, and you can really feel your certainty and inner confidence in the way you say it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to what we've said and talked about so far?
I think I've said a lot. I say I would just tell people, do the work, sign up for the classes, and really put the effort into all the modules, and just allow it to happen, because it will just, by just putting in the work, all the gifts will just keep on coming. So literally. So yeah, no.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Teresa. I'm so happy for you and where you've come to and all of your evolution. It's fantastic to see.
Thank you, Kim, so very much. I recommend you to like everybody.
My Well Fucked Woman Salon is open for registration. In our interview, Teresa spoke about using the jade egg and taking vaginal kung fu. Vaginal kung fu and the Well Fucked Woman are part 1 and 2 of my sexual education masterclasses for women. We recommend that you take each of them, and in whatever order you like. They each only run once a year, so sign up for whichever one is open next, and that is now the Well Fucked Woman. In the salon, you will learn Self-Pleasuring 101, how to use, meditate, masturbate, create to channel your sexual energy into your life and projects, how to boost your libido naturally, how to have all the deeper vaginal orgasms, G-spot, squirting, and cervical, how to use your feminine energy to achieve in the world, how surrender is the most powerful tool you have for linking up with the cosmic and creative flow of the universe, natural birth control and hormone-free solutions for difficult periods and menopause, my full tutorials on cock whispering, including my oral and manual playbook. To sign up, go to kimanami.com/wet. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and send somebody else the gift of a multi-orgasmic and transformational love life by sharing this episode with them. If you'd like to go deeper into all things orgasms, sign up for my free Orgasmopedia series, where you'll learn about 9 different types of orgasms everyone can have. Go to kimanami.com and you'll see the sign up there. Come one, come all.